what's your thoughts on genealogy?
Genealogy is very important. I think everyone should be doing their genealogy, especially people like you and I. This is having other people be able to tell you that you don't know who you are is so demoralizing, is so wrong and so backwards. And in truth, nobody really, in terms of large groups of people, collectives, really knows the truth of how history went down and who everyone is today and who they were in the past. People are lost on that. People, even a lot of people who think they know, they don't know. They think that we're displaced people because of different historical events and things like that, and they don't know all of the upheaval that's been in their own history. Everything in this dimension is in reverse. Okay, so you can pretty much guarantee that how things really started are very opposite to how things look today. All I'm saying is don't believe what you're taught. Go out and learn for yourself. And the best way to start with that is to dig up your own family's records, ask your own elders that are still alive for information, which can be tough because there's a lot of taboos, and that's for a lot of reasons. But I think that it's important. It's important to know your bloodlines and to be empowered and not allow anyone outside yourself to tell you who you are.
No, that was fire right there. When it comes to genealogy, I remember in the beginning of my journey, I was so like RGB, because that's how you program to be, programmed to be on Malcolm, you programmed to be, and I'm Jamaican, so you programmed to be on Marcus Garvey, all this like go back to Africa. Like at one point, because with whole manifestation and stuff, I was looking at places in Ghana, and they talk about the go back to with the, we could help our cousins overseas, and we got programs for y'all to come back over here and all of that. And this is what I'll talk about with the spirit or whatever, with the energy. One day it was just like, just Google your last name. And I just couldn't, I couldn't like stop. It was like, just Google your last name in Jamaica. And when I did, I found out that my family used to own like 2 towns. And I'm like, my whole life, people have been telling me this last name is a slave name, but this is actually an indigenous name. Like, this is the name. Like, my dad would always be like, man, when I would be like messing up, he'd be like, man, you disgracing the family. Like, I'll be like, what you mean? Like, this is like, we got this slave name. Like, what do you mean we disgracing the family? The whole time we're like, we're the indigenous people. And we're not just the indigenous people, we have a whole town. And I always say, like, don't listen to what I'm saying like I'm special. Like, a lot of people have this same story, we don't realize it, because our last names have changed many times, because they burned our records, because they just don't teach you this in school. What I'm saying? They tell you you're from somewhere else. And, they also use a lot of like clever truths. I feel like they don't always lie to us. They're working on technicalities, the fact that one word means like 10 different things and stuff like that. So, and a lot of times I feel like we as people of the Americas have a hard time like with who we are. And that's why there's so many people who's always like fighting back against, I guess, Africans and stuff online now, because our whole life people have been like looking at the way that we do things naturally. Like, we just naturally tie stuff around our head. We just naturally wear our jewelry in a certain way and just do things and talk and move a certain way naturally. And people have been like telling us, you guys are ghetto, or you guys are thugs, or you're ratchet or whatever. And it's like, these are the things that just come to us naturally. And they want us to be something outside of ourselves. But because we've never been in touch with our true story, when I start to see these images and I'm like, wow, they just look like us. I see pictures of people who look like you, who look like me. It's just the people I was growing up with. And this is like for the first time, and they're just all over Pinterest. And these are like paintings that people have in their house, like rich people, like paintings of us in past lives and stuff.
Don't realize that 1%, the average white person doesn't know, and that's why they're more likely to be ignorant and racist.
Right.
But the elite ones, and then the ones who are just smart or spiritual or something like that, they know what's up. I promise you, they be having
Right.
shoes of our ancestors. Like I've seen houses in like these extremely expensive white areas, and I'm like, why y'all have my ancestors' artifacts? You know,
Right.
like
You know, right.
they're siphoning that energy and they're honoring that. And we don't even know ourselves. Like there's a reason why the vast majority of us were told that we were Indian as children. Like
Right.
we were told that. Like my grandma said that you had to go to school or see some shit online to know anything else, to be told that, oh no, that's not actually true. But if the majority of, you know, melanated, pinky haired, Americans, Caribbeans, et cetera, trace back their genealogy, they're going to have a much more challenging time. And I'm not saying this doesn't exist and that it can't be mixed in there, but they're going to have a much more challenging time finding an African ancestor than they will finding a European or indigenous ancestor. Because
Right.
the truth is, we are indigenous all over the world. Even mainstream
Right.
science already released it. They released Cheddar Man, the original British man, and that dark skinned curly hair person. And do you think that they want to tell us this if they don't, if that's just not literally what it is? No, they do not.
Right.
They
Because
don't want to.
that changes your whole story right there.
Okay. And it's a reason. That's why I can't wait for our people to stop trying to be the appropriation police all the time, because I understand it. It does get annoying because they don't have to deal with certain things that we may have had to deal with in our lives, but they can just push it on like a costume or whatever. And they might not even fuck with us as people. But at the end of the day, when you're mommy and daddy of the whole entire world, people will copy everything you do,
Mhm.
whether they're aware of the fact that you're mommy and daddy or not. They are going to naturally be programmed to emulate what you do. So you have to start seeing that for what it is so that it doesn't get under your skin, because it's about feeling good to live good.